Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Where we continue to follow the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden now.
Those are just some of the scenes overnight as thousands of Americans gathered in celebration of Osama bin Laden's death.
Former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill says he has thought about the mission every day since that May Day in 2011.
For multiple conversations you had with Rob O'Neill over the past year and a half, how'd you get
access? And you described that his head kind of exploded when you hit him.
I actually hit him 3 times because I shot him twice when he was standing and once on the ground.
That is the fucking American badass right there.
Go, go, go. We are not going for fame and we are not going for bravado. We are going for the single mom who dropped her kids off at elementary school on a Tuesday morning, and then 45 minutes later she jumped to her death out of a skyscraper.
If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
I'm Rob O'Neill, and this is the Operator Podcast. Hey, man. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Operator Podcast. I'm your host, Robert J. O'Neill, former U.S. Navy SEAL, and there is a lot to cover today. I want to make sure you know that it's called the Operator Podcast because if you're doing anything to help other people, to help your family, or even help yourself, you're an operator, and I'd love to get your opinions on everything in the comments. Again, I need to mention this at first. Instagram's the best way, at the Operator Podcast. And leave your comments there, and I want to hear what you have to say, and I will hopefully respond, or even if you have topics and whatnot for future episodes. I do read the comments, most of them. Also at Mchooyah, M-C-H-O-O-Y-A-H. I've explained how I got there. Started off as a joke. Then I got some followers and had to keep Mchooyah. So I will read those comments as well. I do have Twitter at Mchooyah, M-C-H-O-O-Y-A-H. I rarely read those because people get mean. It's actually called X now, but that's neither here nor there. Also, hey, I know I've mentioned this before. I have a Rumble page that I say I'm going to keep setting up, and I promise I'm going to do it. I'm back at it, and what I'm doing on Rumble is just putting up older podcasts, some highlights and whatnot. That's also at Mchooyah on Rumble. I'm going to figure out how to go live. I'm in between a lot of stuff in my personal life, between moving furniture, moving houses, a new baby. So, potential laziness. I've been out of the Navy for a while, so maybe that's it. But I do want to get up on Rumble because it's kind of fun and go live, things like that. Let me know what you think about that, but go follow Mchooyah on Rumble. It could be fun there. I just posted something yesterday. And I'm gonna put up archived podcast stuff we've talked about before. There's interviews that are timeless. A lot of fun stuff. Clark Impostado, my buddy, former Navy SEAL, former cop, former mercenary, comes to mind. The conversation that we had about Thailand and what a single Navy SEAL pre-9/11 would do on any given day in Pattaya Beach, Thailand. Hilarious. I got to find that and post it on Rumble at Mchooyah. But that's where we're at today. A lot going on. I'm sure you noticed President Trump is the president again. The Biden administration is out. So a lot of stuff coming to fruition, which will be fun to talk about. All kinds of stuff. It's been a good week. I did travel. I said last week that I cut it kind of short because I had some travel to do. I went to Florida, took my family down there, met with family members. It's good to get my 11-month-old daughter into the ocean, into the pool. She does love that, and it's important for people to learn how to swim, I think. Get her in the pool, get her comfortable. I'm not quite leaving her alone yet, but she likes to swim. That was fun. I was able to golf a little bit, which is a blast. I started golfing. I'm not sure if I mentioned this because when I got out of the Navy, my psychiatrist asked me what hobbies I am going to have once I get out. And I said, I don't know. I mean, I know how to shoot. I don't know how much shooting I'm going to do. I might do a little bit. I know how to skydive. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I got a lot of jumps. I might get back into it. Who knows? But as I get older, I'm trying to find different hobbies. I do scuba dive still. It's fun to dive with sharks and whatnot. I'd like to do that in warmer waters. I don't think I'm going to be doing any dragger dives in Rhode Island in January, which we used to do at SEAL Team 2, because I still don't have an answer for that. It's almost like when I talked to Marcus Luttrell about SDV, SEAL delivery vehicles. You can do a 14-hour dive to prove you can sit in the back freezing your ass off not moving, or you can just simulate it. That's up to your platoon chief, I guess. It's easy to be hard. It's hard to be smart. I think we can simulate that, but that's them. I'll do scuba dives when I get further south, the Caribbean especially. Places like Bimini, Tiger Beach, where they have tiger sharks, all kinds of big sharks that are fun to look at. I want to get back down to Isla Guadalupe. I have swum before with great whites, and that's incredible. Not everybody gets a chance to pay for a charter to go swim with great whites, but if you've been to Cape Cod, Long Island, South Africa, Australia, California, if you've been to the Pacific, off the coast of California, any of those places I just mentioned, you have swum as well with great white sharks. You just don't realize you've had a positive experience. What's the joke? How can you tell when there's sharks in the water? Well, go to the ocean with a teaspoon, put the spoon in there, taste it, and if it tastes salty, there's sharks in the water. But good to get in the ocean. We went down there. Anyway, the point I was getting at is my psychiatrist said if you're not going to do these, you need hobbies. You need a hobby to relieve stress from combat. And she recommended golf, which allegedly relieves stress. I'm not sure how, but it does. So I went down there to golf. I went to a couple cool places. I hit up a really hidden spot called Old Palm. It's a private club. Incredible. Great people, great members. The facilities are insane. They got everything from like the 2-story gym to the infrared sauna, which I guess heats you from the inside out. It's supposed to be healthy. Sounds like a microwave to me. I don't know. Let me know what you think of that. Cold plunge saunas, weight room, lap pool, all kinds of good golf. Great people. I gave a talk there over dinner, and it was a lot of fun. Went to the Bears Club, which is owned by Jack Nicklaus. Tighter course, difficult course, skinny. I put some balls in the water, and I think I'm at the age now where I'll give it a courtesy look for a ball, but it's also, time is money. I could find more balls at the pro shop. And then we went to a place called Apogee, brand new, state-of-the-art, private club. It's not quite built yet, and my GPS didn't quite work. But there's going to be 3 designer courses there. They've got like an 18-hole putting course, like a par 3 course with lights so you can golf at night, stuff like that. So that was fun to go to Florida, fun to get back. I was able to keep track of the inauguration. I didn't go. I was invited. Looked like a lot of fun. Looked like it's really, really interesting regardless of which side of the aisle you're on. But that was pretty cool. I was able to talk to one of my daughters about, the thing that was going on down there that raised a lot of eyebrows was, did you see how the First Lady was dressed? Melania had on a really kick-ass outfit, but she had that hat, that low-brim hat, and she really didn't make any gestures. Not until later when she was dancing with the president. She did smile when they were doing a couple of things, but when she first showed up, when the first inauguration, when President Trump won in 2016, Melania showed up in a beautiful blue dress, and she was all smiles, happy. Donald Trump was in a different state of mind, too, thinking as a businessman he can show up to D.C. and, work the art of the deal, get both sides of the aisle to cooperate. Quickly realized that not only do both sides rarely agree with policies, especially from an outsider, but there's a lot of swamp creatures that are just there that didn't want him. He learned, he had 4 years to think about it. Now they're back. In that 4 years, the feds raided him. All kinds of really bad stuff happened. I'm not going to get into what happened, what the deep state was trying to do to him, because their time is up. And they did everything they could to silence him, to try to put him in jail. They tried to kill him. One of the things they did when they raided his house was they went through Melania's stuff. The one that gets brought up is they went through her underwear drawer, pretty private. Blatant overreach. But they don't care. They do the dawn raids, full-on SWAT gear and body armor. Pathetic. But they went through Melania's stuff, and she showed up kind of like, all right, I'm pissed. No more Mr. fucking nice guy. No more Mr. Nice First Lady. And she had the look on her face like my husband is going to come fuck you up. And that was pretty cool. So she looked awesome. She looked tough. She looked different. All business. And to the point now, too, because everyone's coming around realizing, especially with the overwhelming victory, that America, this is what they want. And a lot of people who didn't get a lot of people got pardoned, but a lot of people who didn't. We're going to see what happens, but I know Melania's up there. But what I wanted to talk about, I didn't mention this, but one of my daughters mentioned that she looked like the Hat Man. Have you heard the story about the Hat Man? The Hat Man is, I guess, a shadow person that shows up historically. I think it's back to like 2001, early 2000s, where I guess people took too many Benadryls and they would see the Hat Man. And the Hat Man was described as a shadowy figure that stares at you. Like when you get night terrors or whatever, when allegedly you get so scared you can't move, but something's right there. And that the Benadryl Hat Man has a brimmed hat about the length of his shoulders, which is which is awesome. That's kind of what Melania looked like. And my daughter asked me if she was one of the Hat Men. A lot of Democrats better pray that she's not, because the night terrors, they show up. But the Hat Man, Benadryl, OD, I don't know if it's a good trip. I don't know if you're into that sort of trip. I get into psychedelics quite a bit, and I like them. Ibogaine, big proponent of Ibogaine. You may have seen the legalized Ibogaine shirts there at rjoapparel.com, trying to get Ibogaine legalized so it can be, it helps with addiction, it helps with post-traumatic stress, it helps with TBI, it helps your brain heal. The legalization, however, I would like it to be administered by professionals. I'm not just, like, I was wearing my DMT hat in the airport in Phoenix a couple weeks ago, and someone that was not checking me out, but checking me out at a store was also checking my hat out and asked what it was. I said DMT. She said something like, oh yeah, I heard they're coming out with pens, like the little vape pens with DMT. Wouldn't recommend that. Definitely wouldn't recommend an Ibogaine pen. You want it administered by a medical professional. But anyway, some of the psychedelics come with visions or hallucinations. The Hat Man is one of them, I guess, from Benadryl. And I looked into the Hat Man and where it came from, and they said that it's what they call shadow people. I'm thinking ghosts. I'm thinking either visions or demons. I don't want to get too much into it. Like I said, moving into my new house is pretty old. I'm not trying to stir that up. But shadow people, I guess, torment you, and the Hat Man's one of them. I guess there's 6 types of shadow people. Have you heard of them? The first shadow people, they're human figures. The shadow people, they're described as generally humanoid in shape. The first one is the human shaped shadow people. However, they lack eyes, ears, nose, hair, hands, and shit like that. Male characteristics, semi-transparent. The first humanoid version of a shadow person, I guess. They it's almost like someone says they're sleeping, they feel like they're being watched, they wake up and see it, and it disappears in like 5 seconds. They leave rapidly, I guess, through walls or closed door. Once you see the shadow person looking at you, it leaves through walls, which, you know, I've been to combat, but that does not make me comfortable. Waking up usually at 3:30 in the morning, hearing something, seeing something, and it leaves through your wall. Again, a reason to have a shotgun. Not sure what it would do, but I'd feel a little bit better. The next one, so the first one is the person. The next one's a black smoke or a black mist shadow person. Second most common, not necessarily people, but it's like smoke, I guess you see. The weird thing about it, I guess the reason they put them in the shadow people thing is because when you see the mist, again, this is spooky stuff. You know, if you wake up at 3:30 for no reason, just go back to sleep. But the reason that's in there because the smoke person comes with extreme feelings of dread or malevolence. Not digging that. The third one now, because the first one's a person, the third one is the one I mentioned, is the Hat Man, and that's where the Benadryl thing comes. Human-like again. There's differences, like the wide brim hat. I guess the witness is saying it's the size of the shoulders. And I guess what they say is it mimics human shaped or whatever. And this one's not necessarily, there's occasional dread, but I guess the Hat Man, the one with the Benadryl, is more curious. A little bit of dread, but not as much as the smoke. Then there's like shadow animals about the size of, like small animals like the size of a guinea pig. Little guys. You can sort of see through them, but again, not happy about that. Then this is a cool one. There's a peeking shadow. The peeking shadow. Childlike, like they peek around corners. Allegedly you see them through your periphery. I'm not going to touch that because, when the sun goes down, you're walking around your house, you see stuff in periphery. And again, like diving with sharks, I'm a big believer. If you can't see it, it ain't there. So that was just my eyes playing tricks on me. I haven't taken Benadryl. And this one's crazy is perhaps the most frightening one. I saved it for last is the red eye shadow. It's a person describing, it's a person like the first person, but this one has glowing red eyes. And this is the one, I guess, that comes with, I looked this up and it says paralysis and extreme terror. Not feeling that. It's described as being the embodiment of pure evil, which you don't need to tell me that because I'm assuming if somebody just shows up that looks like that and has red eyes, that it's the embodiment of evil anyway. So that was funny that my daughter brought that up. The hat was there. I think it's Melania simply just showing she will be your personal vengeance. Fun to watch. But again, a lot of stuff going on. I do need to talk about our sponsor though, My Patriot Supply. I always have to bring them up because even though we have a new president now, a lot of damage has been done with this chaos in the past 4 years. It was intentional, peppered with incompetence. Because I do think a lot of people think they have the right ideas, but they've been misled through emotion. So the open borders that's my major thing I'm concerned with cyber attacks and whatnot. The enemy's potentially coming to get us. We've all seen the headlines: cyber attacks on our power grids, drones in the sky, violent attacks on Americans every day because of the open border, cyber attacks because of Lord knows what. But the ugly truth is, no leader, no system can protect you from everything. Keep that in mind. You do need to take care of yourself. How long is it going to take for first responders to get here? And the last thing I want to do is be standing in line, depending on help that'll never come. And when a crisis hits, food is going to be the first casualty. We've seen it before. Everyone needs it, and they're panicking to buy it in case things get worse, just like toilet paper. That's why I made sure my family's prepared with My Patriot Supply. My family here where I live, my family all around the country, I've bought it myself for them, sent it to them, keep it in your garage, in your closet. It's there forever. Their 4-week emergency food kit, My Patriot Supply, gives you the nutrition you need to stay strong in a crisis. With 2,000 calories per day and 100% of your daily value of 12 essential vitamins and minerals, this kit will keep you going with every meal that matters. Right now, they're offering $50 off their 4-week food kit. So right now, go check out preparewithrob.com. Go to preparewithrob.com. and grab your emergency food kit now. Don't put this off because now is the time to prepare. Be prepared. Keep it there. It'll last for 25 years in its packaging. So go to preparewithrob.com. Get your 4-week food kit today. That's one less thing you need to worry about when the crisis hits. Preparewithrob.com. So it has been a crazy week. Not crazy. It's been interesting. Monday was the 20th, the inauguration of President Trump, and they moved it inside. They had it in the rotunda at the Capitol in Washington D.C., but they didn't have it outside because it was freezing ass cold. That's what they said. Could have had something to do with the security threat, maybe not, because they're in D.C. That is the belly of the beast. It's a liberal leftist. See, and there's a difference between classic liberal and leftist. DC's, a lot of them are far left. And so they're the whole resist. They're going to fight everything they can because there's a lot of different reasons why people in DC want to fight it. But there is a security risk. I think it was smart to move it inside. They went to Capital One Arena, home of the Washington Capitals, very fitting. Also the Washington Wizards, another victim of way before the Redskins died. The Wizards were the Washington Bullets. They had to get rid of that because bullets, gun violence. And if you noticed, since they changed the name from the Washington Bullets to the Washington Redskins, crime has gone way down in D.C. because, a name is everything. Actually, it hasn't. D.C. is extremely dangerous because of leftist policies. But anyway, Capital One Arena, the Wizards play there. I think the Georgetown Hoyas play there once in a while. Big crowds, great basketball legacy there. But yeah, that was here. That was there. And now we do have Donald Trump back in office. And a lot of stuff's changing already. You've seen it. It's happening. And what I've noticed too is it's almost, me personally, it's almost like some of the blinders came off with the bullshit we've been trying to convince ourselves that was real. Just lying to each other to make less than 1% of the population feel better, feel comfortable with their mental illnesses. And it's almost like, I think a lot of America's realizing you don't realize how many freedoms were taken away from you personally until you get them back. And we're starting to get more stuff back. There's a feeling of American excellence, and not just American excellence, but around the world. I know there are people, Katie Hopkins being one, if you follow her on social media, she's trying to tell people what's happening in the UK, what's happening in Europe. I've been saying this. I remember sending emails to my family back just after, maybe around 2002, saying what's happening in Europe and the unchecked invasion, open borders, and why. Why are they doing that? Why are you bringing people from a different place that sucks and they only come to your place and make it suck like their old place? They don't try to assimilate. They just make it suck. They try to, things like the hardcore Muslims bringing Sharia law everywhere. I understand people wanting to get away from Sharia law, and I can appreciate legal immigration, try to get away from it, but stop coming to the country and bringing Sharia with you. Leave it where you are. You want the caliphate, keep it over there. It's not going to last, but don't. But anyway, a lot of people are saying that because the United States has done this, and a lot of people, the vast majority, want to keep their countries the way they are, the freedoms that they have, but a lot of the media doesn't want them to. And I can't quite put my thumb on why that is. What is the media getting out of this? Because a lot of people in the media, like the BBC, the mainstream media here, a lot of them are smart, but they're either in on it because of personal gain and power. A lot of people like to be on TV and be famous because that increases everything that you do, your value, your speaking fees, your appearance fees, and whatnot. Or I don't know why they're in on it for some reason. Or how about this? Or they are so close to being busted because the wool is being pulled off the eyes. That could be. Who knows? A lot of people have done a lot of bad stuff and they're about to get caught. We're seeing it in Hollywood. We're seeing it a little bit in D.C. We're seeing it with the pardons. Why are you pardoning so many people? What's going on? Why did you pardon so many people? I mean, Joe Biden pardoned over 8,000 people. That's a lot. I mean, is that to cover up pardoning his son Hunter? Because he did that a while ago. And maybe if you just throw another 8,000 people into it, maybe no one will notice. But you pardon 8,000 people. That's the most in history. The only person who was close was Andrew Johnson, who became president after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln after the Civil War. And the reason he pardoned so many people is because a lot of people who fought for the South were considered traitors. They fought against the country and they were considered traitors. But part of the reconciliation, they pardoned a lot of those soldiers just because we got to get the country back. Joe Biden pardoned more than the Civil War. Why? It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, does that mean we have a civil war going on now, or are we close to it? 8,000 people is a lot of people. You know that there's only been, this is an interesting story. I had to look up because I'm fascinated with our history. If you can find it, by the way, if you can find our history that hasn't been scrubbed, because history is written by the winners or whomever might be in charge of certain places, and the Department of Education comes to mind. Why would we teach our kids the truth when we can just corrupt them with bullshit? So they do get rid. Anyway, I was looking up who's pardoned whom, and this is interesting. There's two presidents who did not pardon anybody. Only two: William Henry Harrison and James Garfield. So William Henry Harrison was the 9th president. He was his party was a Whig party, which is interesting. I think there was 4 presidents from the Whig party. That was before the Republican Party. And I think that was something to do with when a lot of our founders said they didn't want a 2-party system, the Democrats and the Whig party. But William Henry Harrison didn't pardon anybody because, well, he died. The shortest presidency in U.S. history. He also the first president to die in office. Obviously, that's going to cause a constitutional crisis, and who's going to take over the presidency defined by the Constitution. Actually, William Henry Harrison was the last president born as a British subject in the 13 colonies. His grandfather, he was the grandfather of Benjamin Harrison, who was the 23rd president. You'll notice that a lot too. Even back in the day, it stayed in the family, the elites. But basically, William Henry Harrison, I'm just kind of spitballing here, 9th president. He gave a really, really long, I think the longest inaugural speech. It was outside, it was rainy, it was cold, it sucked. It's January. He refused to wear a coat and he refused to wear a hat. And then he walked around, did the parade. He would go on morning walks, wouldn't wear coats. I mean, there's an argument to be had that the cold weather doesn't make you sick. That people get sick in cold. I'm actually got a little bit of crud right now. A lot of that's going around too. I ran into some of my friends out in Phoenix. I ran into Brian Knobloch, Jonathan Gillum, former Marine, former SEAL, and they had a little bit of crud. I know Jonathan did, and I sort of have a crud now too. A lot of crud going. Anyway, the thought is you don't get sick from being outside. You get sick because everybody comes inside and they all become their little hosts and whatnot. But anyway, he got really, really sick. He got pneumonia. He developed severe diarrhea. He became delirious. This is William Henry Harrison. They tended to him for a while, and I guess his last words, speaking of crud, his last words were to the attending doctor, and that's assumed to be his vice president, John Tyler, and he said, delirious with diarrhea, poop in his socks and whatnot, the bed, pneumonia, he said to John Tyler, allegedly, "Sir, I wish you to understand the true principles of government. I wish them carried out. I ask nothing more." And then he died on April 4th, which is Palm Sunday in 1841, after becoming ill exactly 1 month after taking office. So first guy to die in the office, first president to die in office, didn't pardon anybody because he dead. The other one who didn't pardon anybody was James Garfield. And that was he was involved with a lot of stuff involved with this. It was with the Civil War. There's stuff going on, and he was a believer that he was assassinated. Right? He was a believer that the president didn't need security, and that he would announce in some newspapers where he was going, how he was traveling, and there was this dude, Charles Guiteau, who murdered him at a train station because he found out where he was going. And he was pissed about different political nonsense. And this is back when people did kill each other. And he didn't like the political party, didn't like where the country was going, was not happy, I guess, about the Civil War. James Garfield was very anti-slavery, which is obviously great. And he wanted to bring people back together and get the country going. But Charles Guiteau didn't like him, followed him to the train station, and he blasted him there. Which is weird because I guess Lincoln's son was there too, and he'd been killed, assassinated a couple years earlier, and that's tragic. But he was killed. He was shot in the arm and he was shot in the back. This is James Garfield, the 20th president, and he didn't die instantly. He went to the hospital, and doctors were looking at him, and if there had been, if like the bullet was stuck in his back, and if there had been X-ray. At the time, but I guess it wasn't invented until like 14 years later. They could have seen where it was, but they didn't. And they tried to treat him, but he died. What's interesting about James Garfield dying is Charles Guiteau was indicted on October 14th, 1881. And he said he didn't kill him. He said he shot him. It's like the whole thing. Oh my God, you just killed that guy. No. I didn't kill that guy. I shot him. The bullets in the fall killed him. Great movie, by the way. What was that? Tom Cruise movie. Great movie. You're going to know it. I forgot the name of it right now because it's not in my notes and I don't follow my notes anyway. But he said, and James Garfield was a war hero, fought in a lot of the wars, whatnot. And what Guteau wrote, because he shot him, he said, General Garfield, not president, died from malpractice. According to his own physicians, he was not fatally shot. The doctors who mistreated him ought to bear the odium of his death, not his assailant, meaning himself. Then he said, they ought to be indicted for murdering James A. Garfield, not me. And there was obviously a chaotic trial back in the day, and Guteau often interrupted and argued, and then his counsel said, well, this guy's obviously insane. But the jury found him guilty in 1882 on January 25th. He was sentenced to death by hanging, and they hung him. Executed on June 30th, 1882. So that was back in the day, man. You know, you shot the guy even though you say you didn't kill him, we're going to kill you, and they did. Not like pardoning everyone on death row, which Joe Biden did. But Joe Biden, 8,000, more than Andrew Johnson, basically pardoned his entire family, other than his wife and daughters. He pardoned everybody. He pardoned Hunter, obviously, very famously. House Oversight, by the way, says Hunter Biden got $7.5 million from foreign entities. $7.5 million is what they're saying, probably more. He pardoned his brother James, James' wife Sarah. He pardoned his sister Valerie and her husband John Owens, and he pardoned his other brother Francis Biden. 20 minutes before he left office. 20 minutes before he left office. And why do you think that is? I mean, presidents pardon people other than two they got killed. But I mean, everybody knows why, right? I mean, don't be stupid. Why do you think he pardoned his whole family? Why did he pardon Dr. Fauci? Why did he pardon the J6 committee? Because I mean, the left doesn't even want to know. They don't care. That's why the media is probably not going to cover it. They don't care. They know why. And you know, Joe Biden didn't pardon himself, and I don't think he can. But I think there should be an investigation. You obviously can't. When you get pardoned, they can't get punished for the crimes. But that doesn't mean they're not on their rap sheet. So you should go in and find out why, what they did. You can find out where the money went. You can find out if Joe Biden got money from Jim or Hunter, because if he did, it didn't go on his taxes, right? It didn't go on his tax returns, which is a felony, and he can't pardon himself. I think we should all know, because there's a lot going on that we should know about. And there's a difference between commuted sentences and pardons, because Donald Trump just pardoned some people, and you know, the J6 stuff. So you know, we can get into that, and I think we should get into that, because there's a difference. Because some of the people have been pardoned, some had their sentences commuted, and two people were just straight up acquitted. The difference between a pardon and commutation is, when you get pardoned, like I was just saying, it doesn't go off your rap sheet, but you can't get punished for it. And with a pardon, you get some rights back. Like, you can vote again. You can probably get a gun again. You can definitely get a gun again if you know, whatever, depending on whichever state you live in. If you get a commutation, you cannot get those rights back. So you can't vote, can't get a gun. Either way, it's still on your sheet, but you don't get punished. So, so Trump pardoned a lot of people, generally with January 6th. What Joe Biden did is he actually pardoned the entire January 6th committee, which was Democrats and two rhinos. And why would Joe Biden pardon them if it's a committee and it's trying to figure out what happened on January 6th? Which, God, I hope we find out exactly what happened, because everything between Ashley Babbitt getting shot with a negligent discharge to like, one of the cops was attacked by a dude with a flagpole, I guess, and he did die of a stroke the next day. The medical examination said it was natural causes. I would like to find out about that, but you're not going to get the truth, especially out of Washington, D.C. But if you know, you shouldn't, regardless, you should not be attacking police. And I don't want you to think for a second that I'm condoning attacking police officers. I generally have the backs of law enforcement because I think they get a rough gig, even though a lot of those Capitol Hill police are corrupt there in the tank. I talked about that last week. I don't want to get into it again. But the J6 committee, which was complete bullshit, they got pardoned. And why is that? Well, they destroyed evidence. There's a lot of evidence, but from the pipe bombing to the videos to the fist bumps to the hat man, not the hat man we talked about before, but who was the dude in the Elmer Fudd hat running around inciting violence right before Ashley Babbitt was killed, right before that dipshit took a shot at a crowd with 4 cops into it on accident. Hat dude went, what are they were calling him, earmuff man or something, went down there and changed his clothes. A lot of people changing clothes on film, changing out of their black Antifa shit into MAGA shit. Influence. A lot of feds in there. Are we going to find out what the feds were doing? A lot of these tactics, I'm not going to mention some of them and some of the equipment used for certain things in 2020 that were actually designed by our intelligence agencies to overthrow governments in Central and South America. I mean, are we using them here? Who knows? But J6 committee destroyed a lot of the evidence, and I think you're breaking a shitload of laws doing that. I think you're violating a lot of constitutional stuff with that, but they were pardoned. If you did nothing wrong, why should you be pardoned? A lot of people were pardoned. Dr. Fauci, what'd you do wrong? There's so many in there. It's just so shady, and I think there's 8,000 other people in there simply because we don't want Hunter to be a big deal, but I think I would recommend. Not that Joe Biden was in a hurry to get in front of cameras anyway. Donald Trump was asked by Peter Doocy when he was signing executive orders, how many press conferences did Joe Biden do like this, where he was working out of the Oval Office and talking to reporters at the same time? 0. But Biden probably go off into retirement. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But He's been cheating this government for 50 years. I hate when they call these politicians these swamp rats, public servants. No, you're not. I'll give you about 450 million reasons why Nancy Pelosi does. She didn't get pardoned. She and her husband Paulie P they've been making a lot better trades than Warren Buffett. He's pretty good too. It's almost like she had insider information. A lot of that should be coming about the Kennedy stuff, the UFO stuff. Hopefully, this new administration basically they got 100 days to do stuff, and I'm hoping they don't get together and realize that we as the voters are too stupid to find out what's actually going on in life. I hope we do. But then we get into Donald Trump's already pardoned people, the January 6th crew that were. There was so much shady shit going on there too. Look. First off, that was stupid. You don't go into the Capitol. Even though guys like Ray Epps, hopefully you find out what his deal is, telling you we got to go into the Capitol when everyone around is yelling, Fed, Fed, Fed. Yeah, he's a Fed. A lot of Feds were there. God knows what I'm assuming some of these young Feds that are probably lawyers, definitely went to college, were listening to their bosses who were telling you that the MAGA people are domestic terrorists, which they're not. You're going to find out, unfortunately, hopefully not too soon, what terrorists do in this country, because they're here, they're coming, and it's not going to be the MAGA people. But they were told to go in the Capitol, and unfortunately, there's a thing called the madness of crowds, and it happens. Yes, we're meat eaters, but we also are herbivores, which means we're sheep, we're herd animals, and the herd does crazy shit. The mob does crazy shit, the madness of crowds, we've seen it, and that's again part of the tactics of some intelligence agencies to get the crowd riled up and see what you can make them do. So they went into the Capitol, stupid. Attacking cops, stupid. I'm glad I wasn't there. I know I have friends of mine. I have Navy SEAL friends that lost their livelihood because they were just there, didn't go in the Capitol, and they went after a lot of people too. They went vicious after people. There was a dude. Henry Enrique Torrio, I'm probably saying that right, Torrio, perhaps, sorry, head of the Proud Boys, wasn't there, got 22 years in federal pound me in the ass prison. Wasn't even there. But they said, well, the FBI has a lot of evidence. Oh, yeah, super. Oh, the FBI said it, so we better trust them because they're not corrupt as hell. They're already trying to undermine this president right now. Hopefully, well, we're going to see what happens with Kash Patel today. I will be watching. But from January 6th, let's see, there was 1,583 people charged, 700 sentenced to prison, 470 have not been tried yet. 14 people sentences were commuted. 2 people were acquitted. There's video footage of that. Then all others were pardoned. So, and I think it's fair because I think it's a violation of the Constitution to put people in solitary confinement without being charged. And once we put them in solitary confinement, if the media is not reporting, we're just going to forget, man. We're on the social media, not even 24-hour news cycle where there's one thing that's important and we just forget about it because of the next and whatever. My wife likes to watch the Housewives of whatever city, which can be interesting, and I think women and men are designed differently, they're wired differently. My wife relaxes watching that shit. I can't watch a bunch of women drink and yell at each other. And I mean, the fights I could watch, those are kind of funny, but man, the screaming doesn't relax me whatsoever. What do I watch to get relaxed? Propaganda, probably. Try to, this is way off base. What I do to relax is I study. I love history. I try to find history. I'm actually looking for a really old version of some encyclopedia like Funk and Wagnall or Britannica, something old that I can have. I like to read it, but then I like audiobooks when I'm cleaning or whatever. I just got a flamethrower to clean the ice off of the stairs in the driveway, and also I guess it's good for weeds and whatnot. It's a flamethrower, so you can throw flame on stuff, which is great. But I listen to audiobooks when I'm doing chores. Leaf blowing and whatnot, cooking. But my wife said that I need to find a way. I don't read fiction, but she said to start reading fiction. And she's been trying to get me to read Harry Potter for like 10 years. So I said, fine. On my last trip to Phoenix, when I went down to give a speech and hang out with some boys and get that kick-ass jalapeno cheeseburger, I brought the first book of Harry Potter. And to be honest, to be fair, because my wife loves Harry Potter so much, I bought the entire set of the books I want to read them to my daughter Valor because I do read to her now, but it's more, little books for someone who's under 1 year old or anyone, I guess, who's in the public school system in Philadelphia. I could read that to them too, but I'm going to read her, Harry Potter. So I brought the first book, a short one, on the plane to Phoenix. And I flew JetBlue Mint, by the way. And this isn't an advertisement. JetBlue Mint is the bed seats on a JetBlue flight, generally a long distance. And it's only like $100, $200 more than a standard, like a even more room type. But dude, spend the extra $100 on JetBlue Mint if you get a chance. It's just worth it. It's a good experience, and you're not going to miss that $100 when you're dead anyway. I'm not sure. Anyway, so on the flight, I started reading Harry Potter. Read that son of a bitch in about a day and a half. That's including prepping for a speech, delivering a speech, and hanging out. Great book. Not sure where the hell I was going with this. But just to relieve stress and whatnot, instead of golfing, reading Harry Potter is pretty cool. So I started doing that. Where were we? So Donald Trump pardoned a bunch of these people, and it was pretty messed up because what the Biden's Department of Justice, if you can believe it, they weaponized themselves. Seriously, they did. I know you're going to need a minute, but yeah, they were sending people after people. Fascism. But again, admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. They're accusing Trump of being a fascist when they're being fascists. Anti-fascist, Antifa, using fascist tactics, saying they're anti-fascist. Clown show, like I said. Down is up is down. But hopefully normalcy is coming back. But what the DOJ was doing to these people, because see, you got to figure they suckered them into the Capitol. That's why the feds were out there. We're going to send you into the Capitol. We're going to nail you, knowing damn well that, see, the government basically has an unlimited budget, or used to. That's your money, your taxpayer money, the income tax, which hopefully goes away with the IRS. But they knew damn well if the government comes after you and you want to fight them, you're going to need a minimum of $1 million to defend yourself. And I'm not talking like house rich. I mean, for your attorneys, you will need to hire for the massive conspiracy terrorism charges to fight him, which you might not win, especially with some of these Soros appointed, who, by the way, I don't know if you know this, was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Joe Biden. Kick-ass job there, giving a foreign Nazi sympathizer, no shit Nazi, in communist or Nazi occupied Hungary. Look that up. We'll talk about that later. Medal of Freedom. He puts a lot of money into the AGs to prosecute the right because they want the one world government. They being, yes, Joe Biden, yes, this Democratic Party, and George Soros because he's their daddy. Anyway, they charge him with these huge charges that you cannot afford to defend yourself, or you can just plead guilty, plead down, which a lot of people did. And if you don't, we're going to just throw the book at you. Not equal justice. And, everybody knew this. The media didn't report it. So they went in there. Can you imagine that, though? Again, stupid, but having your own government come raid your houses, throw you in solitary confinement, even that jackass with the buffalo helmet. Yeah. And then, so normalcy's coming back, a lot of executive orders. And I'm not crazy about the way executive orders are going because the next administration, whatever administration, your executive orders can be overturned by the next administration. I think Congress should be passing laws and there should not be mandates from three-letter agencies because that's unconstitutional and bullshit, but that's how we roll. But you're not going to get shit done with Congress because, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, that's right, Congress sucks. So the Laken Riley Act was just passed, and that's Laken Riley was the student at Georgia killed by an illegal from Venezuela, a gang member. And basically, the Laken Riley Act requires the Department of Homeland Security to detain non-U.S. nationals who have been arrested for various crimes. So little crimes like I was at CVS yesterday and I wanted to get ice cream, and I had to have the big dude stocking shelves unlock the ice cream so that I could get some, so I could use my credit card, which you can do. You can give them a plastic card, and it's a transaction where you give them money. They give you services, in this case, ice cream, but they have to lock up the fucking ice cream because so many people are stealing it because of the way this country has, what this country's become. Stealing ice cream, I got to unlock it. Now, though, with the Laken Riley Act, basically you can arrest illegals and then you can deport them. That's it. And it lets different lawsuits, states can sue the federal government for immigration failures. Basically what it does, it takes away a sanctuary city. And a sanctuary city is where these leftist communist Democrats want illegals to go so that we can't deport them. Why do they want them here? A lot of reasons. They think they'll vote Democrat. Like I said, if illegals were coming here voting Republican, Biden would have, whoever was running the government would have sealed the border. They're assuming they're going to thank President Biden. You saw the app was canceled, people crying on the other side, thinking they can come through Mexico. I personally don't give a shit. I know they say that people here have done nothing wrong. If you came here illegally, guess what? You broke the law. That's illegal. You broke the law. Again, with the people being born here, getting automatic citizenship, I think that's one of the policies that's bringing people here. Women who are 8-9 months pregnant, walking over the border, giving birth, having an American, that's going away. It should. You need to fix your own house before coming to my house and ruining it. But the media here and the left doesn't give a shit. But that's going away, and it passed the Senate 64-35. So 35 senators voted against this. They want sanctuary. They want illegals. They want an open border. Again, you can guess why. I don't want to get into it. But I do want to name a few people who voted against this. So these are pro-illegals, pro-crime, pro-gangs, pro-violence, pro-everything, voted against the Laken Riley Act. So which means they're spitting in the face of a dead college student who was murdered by a gang member who was here illegally because of their policies. Those people are, and you're going to recognize a lot of these names because we just saw him yelling at Pete Hegseth. I'll get into something interesting more there later. Chuck Schumer, surprise, fucking surprise. Why is he still there? Blumenthal from Connecticut lied about Vietnam and that leather face with all the surgeries he's had. Tammy Duckworth from Illinois. I want to hear more about her story too because every time she gets argued with, combat vet, lost her legs flying a helicopter. Wasn't there, don't know the story. Want to know the story. Because she always throws that in people's faces. My friend Joey Jones at Fox News, a bomb tech, he lost his legs trying to disarm a bomb. He at least makes light of it. He says, I was a bomb tech, but obviously not a good one. Very funny. Love Joey Jones. Handsome as the day is long, by the way, too. Easy, ladies. But I want to hear her story. Why did she crash? Okay. Dick Durbin, Illinois. Duckworth's also from Illinois. Surprise, surprise. Illinois Democrats ruining something. Kirsten Gillibrand, New York. That Senator Hirono from Hawaii, the one that that was arguing with Pete, saying, complete bullshit argument saying, well, you didn't, so I'm going to have to assume you would do that. So she's probably, again, don't know her. I'm really trying not to talk trash about people, but sometimes it's hard when it's right in front of your face and you see it, even though the media doesn't report it. You see some of the stuff, it's hard not to. And then Bernie Sanders, Adam Schiff, he's a senator now. Good job, California. Elizabeth Warren, who's a Native American, and I put Schiff twice because I just don't like him. And then there's a dude from Rhode Island, Sheldon Whitehouse. I put his name on there because who fucking cares about you? But like, he's from Rhode Island, so and I love Rhode Island. I actually love the Northeast. I go to Cape Cod a lot, spend a lot of time in Massachusetts, where my wife is from, and I have a lot of liberal friends. And I need to be careful because classic liberalism is fine. Socially, I'm more liberal than conservative on some social stuff because I'm a believer, more of a libertarian type belief, even though I'm an independent. That behind closed doors, if you're not hurting anyone and you're an adult, you should be able to do whatever you want. Don't hurt anyone. Stop jamming it down our throats and stop cutting dicks off of kids. That's basically where I'm at. I don't want dudes beating up girls in sports. I don't want girls going out there playing volleyball and some dude crushes her face with a volleyball, which is interesting too because Trump did get rid of that, saying there are only two genders, which is crazy from a party that says trust the science. They only trust the science when it is their further agenda. Don't want to touch that. To each his own. Stop fucking with other people. But my question to my friends in Rhode Island, where Sheldon Whitehouse, who voted against the Laken Riley Act, in New York, where Chuck Schumer has been a senator since the War of 1812, and Elizabeth Warren, when she's not running her casinos, is whatever, and making a couple million or whatever teaching somewhere. How do you keep voting for them? Southern California, it ain't climate change. It's shitty policies. You don't clear cut. You don't clean. You don't fill the reservoirs. You're not ready. You burn it down. Why? How do you keep voting for them? Because you're going to. Those same politicians that do the shady shit, watch 2 years. When the next election for Congress is up, you're going to vote for them again. The incumbents are going to get in. Why are you doing that? Why don't you want to change? What does California want to look like it does right now? Come on. So many great people in California. Stop voting for these morons. It's okay to be left or right. Stop voting for the morons who are cheating you. But things are starting to get shaken up. And it's interesting to watch. There's you're seeing the death throes again of dying regime. It's got to be frustrating at some point. There was they held a service at the National Cathedral, a service for prayer of the nation, which ideally is supposed to unite the country. So they bring in a lot of different people. They had different denominations, Muslim clerics, Christians. They had Jewish people there giving prayers. But the one that struck me as just ridiculous was there's an Episcopal Church bishop who scolded the president and the vice president who were in the front row. She just look at a picture of her. You can tell where she stands, but she scolded President Trump about to have mercy on LGBTQ and gay kids and trans kids and all that stuff in the middle of a sermon to unify us. And she's used the terms like have mercy on these people. He's not attacking any of these people, by the way. So there's no need to have mercy. He's not coming after these people. There's not a threat to them like they like to say, how they're afraid of everything. But she's up there. Her name is Reverend Marianne Edgar. It's spelled Budde, so it's Buddy or Booty. I think I'm going to go with Booty. So Reverend Booty was just saying that kind of stuff too, not realizing that a lot of the stuff she's arguing for is not in the Bible, and they're not Christian beliefs, but she doesn't care. Neither does the media. She's cool. I'm amazed they didn't walk out. I would have walked out. Very insulting, but that's kind of how they roll. Don't care. I mean, even remember when Mike Pence was vice president and he went to see Hamilton and the cast of Hamilton stopped to lecture him. The fuck do these people think they are? Good job. Anyway, here's another one too. So Pete Hegseth, my friend, who is the nomination for SecDef, passed the Senate Armed Services Committee, and then it's going to the Senate for a full vote. But oh my God, look at that. Out of nowhere comes someone saying that he was dangerous and he drank too much and his wife felt threatened. And this, of course, is his former sister-in-law, and her name is Danielle Hegseth. And I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, his sister-in-law, why does she have the same name? Well, not allegedly, she was married to Pete's brother. And so she's a woman scorned married to Pete's brother, and they got divorced. Pete got divorced to her sister. So now she was found. She was found by the Democrats. She's not Christine Blasey Ford, but she stinks just the same. Even when Pete Hegseth's former wife, Samantha, has said over and over again, nothing bad happened. They signed an affidavit, both of them. There was no abuse, nothing wrong, blah, blah, blah. But the Democrats found her, and now she's running up in arms. Oh, look at this, and he's this, and he's just yelling. Anyway, hopefully it doesn't get much steam, and he should get the nomination soon, but that's what they do. They're just fine. I'm assuming next will be 30 years ago, you had a beer and smacked me on the ass like they always do. Anyway, but I think that stuff seems to be coming around. If you look at the difference between the inaugurations, you got, look at the picture of the Biden administration with their stupid fucking social distancing, that picture. They're all 8 feet apart, which was nothing, which meant nothing. They didn't do shit. Same with the masks, social distancing, but you see the difference. Nonsense, stupidity, normalcy might be coming back. Hopefully, I'm gonna leave with this because it's just exciting to see what's happening around the world with our allies, with different nations, with the economy, with OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle. This is a new investment. OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle are going to launch what's called Stargate immediately. And I believe one of them said it's a $100 million investment that will turn into $500 million in a couple of years. And one of the CEOs, I forget his name, admitted, if the Biden administration or the Harris administration was here, we would not have done this, but now we are. And this is a monster. Because we are going to make America great again. We are going to make the world great again. This is going to be a 1 million square foot data center. It's under construction now in Texas. Why Texas, you ask? Why not California? Well, because we need a lot of power. We need energy. We don't need windmills. We don't need red tape. We don't need everything that comes with trying to build on your own property. All the regulations. Wait, like Adam Carolla said, man, wait till you see California try to rebuild. 1 million square foot data center. You know what that means for Texas? 100,000 new jobs just created. Basically because, Trump repealed Biden's oversight on pretty much everything. So hopefully that continues. Hopefully, again, with the 3-letter agencies, get rid of the EPA. Gone. Get rid of the ATF. Gone. Get rid of the IRS. Get rid of, I'm not going to get into some more of them because I don't want to step on a lot of toes, but we got to stay ahead of China. We need a strong military. That's why we need Pete Hegseth. We got to get rid of the stupid green energy crap. Get rid of the regulations no one wants to. Get rid of the electric vehicle mandates, which is stupid. We should probably start teaching our kids that climate change is ridiculous. That cow farts and SUVs aren't doing it. That the climate changes, the sun gets hotter. You should have kids, have more kids. Stop believing the bullshit these people. Look, I mean, blatantly, the lies that are being uncovered that they tell you, stop teaching your kids this stuff. I hope that people that trust the science will trust the science. Believe the reality. Know the difference between equity and equality. There's a huge difference. Anyway, I hope it's a new start. I think this is the beginning of a new phase. I'm excited about 2025. And if we all just really trust the science, right? You're never out of the fight.